Okay, so what I've drawn here is the windowsill detail. I've got a triple glazed curtain wall frame system. Here's the structure. I call it substructure. So it's like a girt that's kind of framing the window opening. So it'd be, if it's a continuous strip window, so there'd be a header one and one at the sill, or if it's just like a punch window that's only so long, then you'd have steel at the jambs and then the headers in between the steel at the jam. So sometimes it's part of the superstructure, but like it's not. So it's kind of added in unless the window aligns with the primary columns of the superstructure. Then it's just added steel, and I call it secondary structure that's added to frame around the window, basically. So that's what that is. Here's my deflection track right here, my interior gypsum board. The brown is a plywood, so there's always a plywood nailer put around the framing the opening basically for the window. I've just kind of just drawn in the glazing manufacturer's sleeve. Basically, it's their sleeve anchor, basically what they use to fasten their frame system to the plywood. And I've just wrapped the gypsum board back towards the frame here, so there would be a bead of caulking put right there. And so I've drawn some brick on the outside here, and I decided to do a sloped concrete sill in this case. Obviously it's not what you have to do. You could just do brick. Like just keep carrying this brick up like this. Let me just do it like this, kind of messily. You could just keep bringing brick up and then just put flashing over that like that. I think that's kind of ugly. You could do oops, I didn't draw that very well. You could break off a brick and do a slope brick like that. That's very popular as well. I just decided to go with the concrete sill. What is important here, whatever it is you end up doing, whether it be flashing or a slope brick or a concrete sill, what's important is to have a drip edge there. Okay, and get that out a good 15 millimeters to 20 millimeters if possible. Obviously always slope away from the window. That's very, very important. I haven't drawn in the flashing here, so the flashing actually tucks up into the frame like so. So in this case, I would just stop the flashing. Like there's no point, like, the whole point of having a concrete or stone sill would be so you could see it, so you don't have to carry the flashing out too far. But certainly, the way these windows are designed, if the seal right here in the window, there's a seal here and here, if this one ever fails, these window systems are designed to drain, so water will actually drain out like that. So you just want to make sure you're getting it out onto the sloped surface and not, feeding it down into the wall cavity. That's really the point there. Sometimes, I guess it would really depend on the window manufacturer, the situation, but you could put in a rigid insulation foam block in there, but more often than not, it's a piece of aluminum. And it's an anti-rotation bar is what they call it. So because there's no glass in there, it's a piece of aluminum that gets shoved in there so the frame doesn't twist. But what I have forgotten here is my air vapor moisture barrier. So it's pretty simple. All that happens in this situation here is the air vapor moisture barrier gets tucked into, I'm going to put one, here's the one on our wall right here. Okay. And then there's another one that just gets tucked in to the window pocket right there. And then that anti-rotation bar gets put in there. And it clamps those things in nicely. But yeah, other than that, that's really it. You have to look at you're going to lose some insulation, obviously, whatever you do at your sill right here. You're probably going to lose it if you do some type of stone or concrete or angled brick right there. But you got to remember that if you have triple glazing right there, the thickness of that insulation isn't any worse than the window system itself. So it's okay to have smaller amounts in locations like that. It just happens. The only thing that's glaring out at me here is, maybe this thing is going to get back heavy right here. So, if there was a concern with that, it'd be a pretty easy thing to fix. I mean, you could just put in a piece of like little galvanized metal bracket like that or something in there would work. You just want to make sure that water could drain through here, so you probably want to have that thing perforated, metal angle just to help support the back of that sill like that. But that's really, I won't show that for now. But that's really all there is to it. Is that, again, you would have your vent holes at the top here. But yeah, that's really the intent there, is just drain the water and let it hit that drip edge and drip down. Don't let it travel back and get to the face of the brick. You're going to end up with issues there. Efflorescence issues, basically. So the drip edge is important. And so there's an image of a sloped brick sill right there. So they're quite nice. Here's an example of a stone or concrete sill right there. This is from a very, very old building. It's been there a long time, so it's quite dirty. But if you look closely here, you can see the drip edge there. Okay, that's important. So that line there is the drip edge. Here's an example where they did a soldier course on top. So they turned that brick up, and that height of that brick would equal 3 bricks right here. You'll see that they didn't slope the flashing on top of the brick, so they're having some water issues on that wall there. But that's just another example. The reason I brought this picture up is just to show an example where you do nothing special, basically. So, all they've done here is they've just made sure that, the dimension from there to there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 whole bricks, basically, and then they put the windowsill in there. But, they didn't do a sloped, all they did was slope flashing on there. That's it, which is fine. That works as well. And there's just another example of just a slope flashing, basically. I could see they had some coordination issues here with the trade. So, the glazing person did that flashing there, obviously. And then the eaves person or whatever that finish is did the flashing there, and they've got different colored flashings. But anyways, the point is, again, they just would have made sure they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 full bricks there, and then slope that flashing down away from the window. And this one last picture here, this is just showing the flashing extending out, not full length. Like they did a slope brick there, so they wanted to see that slope brick. So you could take the flashing all the way on there and put a drip edge on it, but the point is to not see flashing on the edge. You want to see the brick. So in that case, they just stopped the flashing short, which is pretty much what I drew here. I would even bring it back a little bit there. I drew it too far. And anyways, that's pretty much it for a windowsill. Something else I forgot to mention on this detail here is, if there was ever concern of this, breaking off and falling or something like that, or getting bumped or whatever, what can be done there is you can fill the holes in the brick with mortar and put like a steel rod in there, basically. Okay, embed it into the mortar in there, and then that would go into slots in the concrete and epoxied in there, basically. That'll hold that there really well. So just something else that probably should be considered when you're doing, a heavier stone sill or concrete sill on for a windowsill, or actually a parapet cap as well. So you often see the concrete parapet caps at the top of walls, so they're usually pinned in like that. So anyways, it might be a little bit overkill on a windowsill, I suppose, depending on the situation, but certainly something to consider.